The true greatness of certain exceptional minds only rises to eternal reverence among later generations long after their stars have faded from the mortal sky. Alan Turing confronted the bigotry and ignorance of his era with ingenious machines within the quiet grounds of Bletchley Park, yet in his declining years he was cruelly pushed into desolate abyss by the very society he had saved and protected. Tonight, accompanied by the faint soft glow of flickering flames, we walk into the genuine untold life of this lonely peerless genius. Have you ever pondered the hidden meaning behind that famous half-bitten apple? It is far more than merely a modern corporate symbol. It stands as Turing's final silent resignation, the quietest, most dignified act of rebellion against an unfair, prejudiced age. From the supreme peak of logical innovation to his solitary, profound exploration of biological morphology, his soul remained forever pure, clear, and untainted by worldly malice. Close your eyes and drift back to the mist-shrouded afternoons of Old England and listen quietly to this sorrowful, unforgettable chapter hidden in the dust of history. If the entire world could be regarded as one vast operating computational system, Alan Turing was the visionary mind who wrote its foundational underlying code, yet his whole life was woven with lingering bitterness, gentle tenderness, and unspeakable sorrow that could never be explained or resolved by cold algorithms. Even amid the relentless persecution and humiliation of his later life, he still knelt quietly to observe the delicate spiral patterns of sunflowers, seeking harmony and solace within the quiet order of nature. Tonight, nestled within this gentle, unhurried tale meant only for quiet reflection, may you fall peacefully asleep amid the lasting echo of eternal truth and unyielding wisdom. Late one night in June 1954, inside a quiet bedroom in Wilmslow, Cheshire, the stillness was so complete only the steady ticking of a clock echoed through the room. Upon the bedside table lay a half-eaten apple, a faint, subtle, bitter scent of almonds hanging softly in the still air. Few could have imagined that this 51-year-old man who passed away from chemical poisoning had single-handedly shortened the course of the Second World War by at least 2 entire years. His name was Alan Turing. Tonight, accompanied by the softly flickering glow of the hearth fire, we walk fully into the untold life of this remarkable soul. Through this tranquil tale meant only for quiet reflection, he is honored as the father of modern computer science, the terminator of ancient complex cryptography, and a lonely, overlooked figure deliberately hidden in the shadows by an ungrateful era. The world remembers his brilliant, confident days cracking the unbreakable Enigma code, yet few pause to speak of the heartbreaking humiliation and torment he endured in his final years. He was a prophet living far ahead of his time, trapped helplessly within an old world bound by rigid prejudice and ignorant bias. His fate carved one of the deepest, most painful rifts across the pages of human civilization, and it is this quiet night that allows us to gently mend the lingering regret left behind. The irreversible crack splitting open Turing's fate did not originate within a laboratory or academic debate. It was brutally exposed during an ordinary police investigation into a simple household burglary in 1952. The cold, rigid machinery of British law held no warmth or compassion for human feeling. Turing was branded a criminal solely for speaking honestly about his innermost emotional identity. The society of that time cared nothing for the millions of lives he had saved, nor the boundless progress he had gifted to human civilization. It cared only whether he conformed to narrow, outdated moral standards. In that cold, sterile courtroom, Turing sat upright and composed, his gaze remaining clear and calm, yet filled with quiet confusion. He could never understand why love itself could be labeled an unforgivable crime within the very nation he had fought so hard to defend and protect. The judge offered him only 2 harsh choices: imprisonment behind bars or submitting to a year-long course of devastating chemical castration therapy. Determined to continue his academic research and quiet work at his desk, Turing reluctantly chose the latter. This cruel medical treatment tormented his physical body relentlessly while acting as a slow spiritual torment designed to strip away his human dignity and suppress his innermost nature. Artificial hormones altered his physical appearance, shattered his robust physique once suited to long-distance running, and drained his natural vitality bit by bit. This forced, bitter compromise cast the heaviest, darkest shadow over the final chapter of his life, confining this unparalleled genius to a lonely, isolated island of his own making, cut off from the world he had dedicated himself to uplifting. After being stripped of all access to government classified research and confidential military projects, Turing never surrendered to despair or self-ruin, instead turning his curious, thoughtful gaze toward the hidden, profound mysteries of nature itself. These final years became the loneliest yet most poetically meaningful period of his life, devoted entirely to his pioneering research into biological morphology. Inside his small Manchester apartment, he filled every corner with sunflowers, pine cones, and daisies striving to decode the hidden mathematical rules governing the growth and formation of all living things, he would sit quietly beneath the soft glow of the setting sun, staring intently at the intricate spiral patterns etched across sunflower heads, as if searching for a universal master code that could explain all the pain, complexity and quiet order of mortal existence. He wondered endlessly why the number of flower petals always followed the precise sequence of Fibonacci numbers, and why all life unfolded into such perfectly structured yet endlessly complex natural forms. This line of research drew little attention or understanding from the academic world during his lifetime, even dismissed by many colleagues as fanciful delusions of a fallen, neglected genius. Yet in Turing's heart this quiet pursuit became his personal path toward emotional healing after enduring brutal persecution and spiritual damage faced with a harsh, aggressive society filled with judgment and rejection. The silent, unyielding power of nature's steady growth became his only source of comfort, peace and inner refuge. He still maintained his daily habit of long-distance running, wandering the quiet streets and countryside paths of Manchester each early morning, his sweat falling softly onto the quiet earth, a solitary figure still striving relentlessly to touch the eternal truth hidden beneath the chaos of mortal life amid overwhelming personal suffering. Turing's profound loneliness stemmed not only from external exclusion, social rejection and public judgment, but also from the vast intellectual gap that placed his thinking far beyond the comprehension of his own era. As early as his days working in secrecy at Bletchley Park, he pondered questions that bordered on philosophical and theological depth, exploring whether mechanical machines could ever possess genuine, independent thought. He once reasoned that if a machine's behavior could perfectly mimic human intelligence so seamlessly that observers could not distinguish man from machine, then that machine must be regarded as truly intelligent. This relentless pursuit of defining and understanding artificial intelligence was in essence his quiet way of confronting his own isolation. He longed to create a rational, logical companion capable of understanding his complex thoughts and silent reasoning. In his later, solitary years he often whispered quietly to the early primitive computer prototypes he had designed late into the night, the flickering glow of circuit boards and electronic lights resembling the most beautiful distant stars shining only for him. He had navigated the chaos of brutal global war, commanded intricate arrays of logical code and unraveled impenetrable military ciphers, yet remained helpless and awkward when facing the subtle, complicated nuances of human emotion and social interaction. This innate simplicity, purity and straightforwardness typical of great geniuses set him forever apart from those around him, and after his cruel trial and public persecution this sense of alienation deepened into full-blown social fear. He avoided direct eye contact with others, dreading seeing judgmental pity hidden within their stares. He began living his life as if he were a precise algorithm, striving to cast aside all emotional disturbance, trivial worldly noise and personal vulnerability, leaving only the pure, unclouded pursuit of truth. Yet human souls can never function like cold electronic circuits. Damaged hardware may be repaired and restored, but a spirit burned, wounded and scarred by cruel prejudice can only sink into prolonged quiet desolation with no hope of mending. Let us return to the quiet symbolism of that half-eaten apple. To many it stands as Turing's final heartfelt tribute to the fairy tale of Snow White, a story he loved deeply, often humming its magical incantations quietly even amid breaks in his experimental work. Yet from the logical, precise perspective of a lifelong mathematician and logician, this final act reads more like a carefully calculated, dignified farewell to a world that had abandoned him, unwilling to let his mother believe he had chosen voluntary suicide. He arranged the scene to resemble an accidental laboratory incident, while leaving the half-bitten apple as a subtle, silent hint of the truth. It was a quiet, misty morning, sunlight filtering gently through the gaps in his curtains, falling softly upon his calm, relaxed profile. He departed peacefully, without complaint, without anger, without lingering sorrow, as if completing a complex calculation decades in the making before gently pressing the permanent stop button. The brilliant mind that had decoded Hitler's most secret military communications and altered the fate of the modern world was finally freed forever from earthly confinement, pain, humiliation and loneliness. Neighbors only remembered the thin, quiet man who occasionally rode his bicycle past their homes, never knowing that within that humble, ordinary lodging the entire course of human civilization had been pushed forward by immeasurable leaps. His life began with innocent, curious wonder and ended amid narrow-minded prejudice, yet he left behind an invaluable, irrepayable gift destined to benefit humanity for all eternity. As our story draws to a gentle close, the lingering regret and sorrow that once pricked at the heart gradually fade away with the soft night breeze. Turing's legacy extends far beyond the personal computers on our desks and mobile phones in our hands. He gifted humanity an unshakable, profound faith in the power of reason, logic and relentless curiosity. He finally received a royal pardon in 2013, a belated apology, more than half a century overdue, for the injustice he endured, returning to The quiet mystery of the half-eaten apple posed at the start of our tale. It remains the gentlest, most dignified farewell a misunderstood genius offered to an ungrateful world in his darkest hour. He chose not to wage endless bitter rebellion against prejudice but to seek lasting peace within the quiet embrace of eternal truth. Today the mathematical sequences hidden within sunflower spirals still pull steadily throughout every corner of nature. The city lights he helped illuminate still twinkle brightly across the night sky. The warm glow of tonight's hearth fire is fading slowly. Let us bid quiet farewell to this lonely devoted guardian of modern thought. Amid this gentle unhurried story, allow your breathing to lengthen steady and calm, releasing all worldly injustice, exhaustion and inner weariness to vanish away with one quiet wish for rest. Close your eyes and may you find your own peaceful tranquil dreams within the clear unwavering logic and gentle wisdom that defined Alan Turing's soul. Good night, Alan Turing, and may you rest in peaceful undisturbed dreams this night.